Hello and welcome to the IT Governance Podcast for Friday the 16th of June 2023. My apologies if you can hear a fan whirring in the background, but it's just too hot not to have it on. Here's the news. Russia's Klopp ransomware gang has confirmed it was responsible for a 27th of May attack on Progress Software's MOVEit transfer app. According to SC Media, MOVEit is used by thousands of enterprises, including 1,700 software companies and 3.5 million developers, to securely move sensitive files. One MOVEit transfer user known to have been affected by the attack is the payroll services provider Zelis, as a result of which the personal data of employees at 8 of its high-profile customers, including British Airways, the BBC, Boots and Aer Lingus, was compromised. On the 5th of June, Zelis issued the following statement. "We can confirm that a small number of our customers have been impacted by this global issue, and we're actively working to support them. All Zelis-owned software is unaffected, and there are no associated incidents or compromises to any other part of our IT estate. Once we became aware of this incident, we took immediate action, disconnecting the server that utilizes MOVEit software and engaging an expert external security incident response team to assist with forensic analysis and ongoing monitoring. We've also notified the ICO, DPC, and the NCSC in both the UK and Ireland. We employ robust security processes across all of our services, and they all continue to run as normal." According to Bleeping Computer, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As with previous Klopp attacks on managed transfer platforms, there's likely to be a long stream of company disclosures as time goes on, it said. Klopp, meanwhile, confirmed that it had stolen data from hundreds of companies, which it would begin publishing on the 14th of June if a ransom was not paid. The latest confirmed victim is the UK communications regulator Ofcom, which disclosed on the 12th of June that a limited amount of information about companies it regulates, along with 412 employees' personal information, had been exfiltrated as a result of the MOVEit breach. No Ofcom systems were compromised. Progress Software worked quickly to patch the zero-day vulnerability the criminals exploited, as well as identifying other critical vulnerabilities in MOVEit transfer. If you use MOVEit, you're advised to apply the patches as soon as possible. Following last month's €1.2 billion fine for Meta for breaching the GDPR's requirements for transatlantic data transfers, the Irish Data Protection Commission is planning to fine LinkedIn hundreds of millions of euros for GDPR violations related to targeted advertising. According to Silicon Republic, Microsoft, which owns LinkedIn, told investors on the 1st of June, after review and analysis, the company will increase its existing reserve for the matter and, based on current exchange rates, take a charge of approximately $425 million in the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2023. It continued, the company intends to dispute the legal basis for and the amount of the proposed fine, and will continue to defend its compliance with GDPR. There's no set timeline as to when the IDPC will issue a final decision. On the subject of GDPR fines, Spotify is facing a fine of 58 million Swedish krona, approximately £4.28 million, from the Swedish Data Protection Authority, the IMY, for violating the GDPR's requirements relating to data subjects' right of access. The fine itself is fairly unremarkable, but the protracted process that led to it is worthy of attention, because the IMY's decision comes more than 4 years after a complaint by Noib, or None of Your Business, the privacy rights organisation led by Max Schrems, that Spotify didn't provide enough information in response to data subject access requests. Under Article 15 of the GDPR, data controllers are obliged to confirm to individuals whether their personal data is being processed, and, where it is, provide them with a copy of that personal data, providing it doesn't adversely affect the rights and freedoms of others, that is, as well as certain other information. Noib argued that Spotify didn't do this and filed a complaint in January 2019. The complaint was filed in Austria, but because Spotify is based in Sweden, the case passed to the IMY. However, the IMY delayed its investigation into Noib's complaint while it carried out its own investigation, claiming that Noib should not be party to this procedure. Noib then took the IMY to the Swedish courts, arguing that of course data subjects should be party to complaints about their own privacy rights. The Stockholm Administrative Court sided with Noib, confirming that the IMY could not exclude data subjects from investigations into complaints that they filed. According to Noib, the IMY has now issued a decision on the Noib complaint, as well as on Spotify's wider approach to providing information to the users, issuing the streaming service a fine of 58 million Swedish krona. Stefano Rossetti, a privacy lawyer for Noib, said, "We're glad to see that the Swedish authority finally took action. It's a basic right of every user to get full information on the data that's processed about them. However, the case took more than 4 years, and we had to litigate the IMY to get a decision. The Swedish authority definitely has to speed up its procedures." Google has been forced to postpone the EU launch of its Bard chatbot after the Irish DPC, Google's main European supervisory authority under the GDPR, expressed concerns about how the generative AI tool protects EU residents' privacy. According to TechCrunch, the DPC's Deputy Commissioner Graham Doyle said the regulator had not had any detailed briefing nor sight of a DPIA, Data Protection Impact Assessment, or any supporting documentation. The DPC has since sought this information as a matter of urgency and has raised a number of additional data protection questions with Google, to which it awaits a response, and Bard will not now launch this week. Politico, which first reported on the story, said the issue is under ongoing examination by the Irish regulator, which will share information with other European data agencies as soon as possible. The DPC did not provide any further information about specific privacy issues it was concerned about. Meanwhile, the EU has moved closer to passing one of the world's first laws governing the use of AI. On Wednesday, MEPs voted on the European Parliament's negotiating position on the Artificial Intelligence Act, which aims to ensure that AI developed and used in Europe is fully in line with EU rights and values, including human oversight, safety, privacy, transparency, non-discrimination, and social and environmental well-being. Negotiations with the Council of the European Union began on the same day. And that was the news. And that's it for this time. As ever, you can get in touch with us either by leaving a comment on the blog or via Twitter at ITGovPod, that's my account, or at ITGovernance. We'll return in a fortnight, but until then, our archive is on SoundCloud, Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And you can find everything you need to implement and maintain cybersecurity defense in depth on our website, itgovernance.co.uk.